everybody, and welcome back to the latest and greatest episode of My Friend Chuck. I am Mike Richmond, the Oregon Live. With me, as always, my friend Chuck, Charles Tuggle of the internet. What's up, man?
Oh, nada, brother. Here on a sunny day in our nation's capital, getting excited for playoff basketball, top to bottom. It was even just chatting playoff basketball at the local sandwich shop I just stopped in.
How are people feeling about the Wizards in the nation's capital?
I think positive. The Wizards actually don't have what seems like a very strong and vocal, sort of committed fan base. I think such is just the nature of the city a little bit and its relationship with sports teams.
Yeah, they're a terrible sports city, I would say.
But they like the Wizards right now. The Wizards are good right now. The Wizards have played pretty good basketball, I feel like, throughout the whole season. Well, for most of the whole season, notwithstanding the very beginning.
Since December 15th.
At the end. But yeah, good basketball for the first time in years for a team that I think had a lot of promise and sort of potential with Bradley Beal and John Wall around and never really seemed to put it together. So yeah, I think the city's a little excited about them. But it's also Caps playoff time, and Caps fans seem a little more passionate than Wizards.
Hockey fans wear more jerseys too, so you can always tell who they are.
Mm-hmm. Big old jerseys. You can't miss hockey jerseys. They're wide cut and long.
And the
colorful.
Sleeves cover your hands, so you gotta constantly pull them back up.
Everyone looks the same.
Exactly, it's like the ultimate equalizer. How you can tell if you really love someone if you love them in a hockey jersey. Okay, but there's mostly on this podcast we talk about the Portland Trailblazers, which is the team that I cover professionally for the largest news organization in the Northwest. I'm not even sure if that's true anymore, but a very large news organization in the Northwest, and that you root for from very far away. The Blazers play the Golden State Warriors Sunday, 12:30, Game 1 of the Western Conference first round series. Charles, what's it going to take for the Blazers to win several games, if not the whole thing?
It would need a near miracle confluence of events, including Jusuf Nurkic back with the squad at 100%.
Maybe
health
200%.
and fitness. Yeah, 300% Nurkic playing like 2001 Shaq.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But beyond that, it's tough to see it happening, really. And I don't know. We should probably address Nurkic first.
Yeah, okay, so here's what I know.
Just to get that out
Here's
of the
what
way.
I know about Nurkic, and then we can weigh in on with some opinions. He had an X-ray on Wednesday. His leg is still broken. However, he feels like he's heading in the right direction. Each of the last 3 days, he has gone through some sort of low impact on-court work, but he's shooting jumpers, he's practicing post moves, he's out on the court, dressed out and playing. He's not, running and jumping and going full speed, but he's working up a sweat and playing basketball and doing basketball things. He warmed up for about 20 minutes prior to the Blazers' regular season finale on Wednesday. The Blazers are not formally practicing Thursday afternoon, but I guarantee he'll be in the gym doing conditioning work. And on Friday, he will be formally reevaluated by the doctors, and the Blazers will make a decision on his health. He wants to play. Should he, Charles?
I would say if the doctors clear him and he wants to, he should definitely play. It's at a certain point, it's their responsibility, the individual's responsibility, and with the informed decision of the team's medical staff, it's his decision.
Yeah, I mean, if it just comes down to pain tolerance, you got to imagine he'll play. He's the Bosnian Beast from the Wild Wild East, as that song famously coined it. But if there's some structural stuff or whatever other concerns, here's the caveat: I am not a doctor. I am a sports writer, and Charles. I don't even know what Charles's professional title is, but he's also not a doctor. I can tell you that. He does have a doctorate, though.
That's not
you
true.
Don't?
No, I have a master's degree.
Hey, shoot your shot.
Hey, we're fact checking here. We're honest. I could have spun.
Yeah,
that
could have been fake news. My friend Chuck. But listen, we don't know. But I do think that the Blazers will be somewhat cautious with him. But if I from reading the tea leaves and talking a little bit just in passing to Jusuf Nurkic, I think he thinks he's going to play in Game 1. I really do.
Wow. That's exciting news.
I don't know if it's a good idea. I have no idea, but I think he thinks he's going to play in Game 1. I think he's confident that he'll be ready to go on Sunday afternoon.
Well, I can't have any qualms with any of those decisions. It's sort of out of my hand. The Blazers obviously want to be cautious towards the future, but if things come back positive and Nurkic wants to get out there, let's do it. And that changes up the series a little bit. Not a lot. But
how do you think it? Like, how do you see it changing it? How much can Nurk really impact? This series.
That's maybe the difference between winning a game and not winning a game, or winning a game or winning 2 games.
So you think he
yeah.
So you think he could conceivably push it, and you're saying that the max for the Blazers in this one is about 6 glorious games.
Yeah, that's what the really hopeful prediction would be, with 100% fit Nurkic and Dame and CJ sort of playing out of their minds, that the Blazers would win 2 games.
I do think that you're right about those being the X factors.
Hopeful.
The Blazers, I mean, obviously Nurk's got to play, and if he plays, he's got to play well. It's not like just him being like a tall person is really going to change things, because it's the Warriors have sort of bowled over some big teams in the past. They've that's sort of in theory what they struggle against, is like a big interior presence. But you gotta go small at some point against them for some period of the game. You just can't out big them. No team has successfully done that. The Cavs did a version of that, but they really just did it because Tristan Thompson is such a monster on the boards, not because of his sort of sheer size. I think that was more about rebounding than it was about just being big.
Right, and they tried to match Tristan like for like with Draymond.
Correct.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And it kind of worked with the sort of energy levels that Thompson can put out, and he's rather mobile also, not in the way that Draymond is, but in his own right. I would see, Nurkic's impact to me would be in just sort of stretches that would likely not be closing stretches, where the Blazers could find some net positive advantage to eke out a lead, maybe against what looks like a light Warriors bench.
See, I don't even think the Warriors have a light bench. If the way Iguodala played when Durant went down makes me think that he's healthier and better, to use a Charles Tuggle term, in better form than he was last year. Sean Livingston is still a monster as a backup point guard. He's as good as a backup point guard you're going to find in the league. David West is, if nothing else, a veteran NBA player. And, that's 8 guys. How deep are they really going to go in the playoffs? Obviously, Matt Barnes, I think, has already been ruled out for Game 1. But they just lost like a little bit of crazy. I don't know what Matt Barnes does actually like effectively, other than intentionally foul people and prevent them from getting layups. He's good at that. That's like a really good skill of his. But
chaos factor.
And like the juju of being part of the We Believe Warriors too. He's got that going for him.
Yeah, I can just envision Nurkic just sort of just abusing JaVale McGee a few times, or whoever sort of gets stuck on him. But overall, you're right. I think that the turning points in the games will come later with regards to their smaller lineups, which the Blazers will have to match.
Well, okay, so let's talk about those smaller lineups.
I think.
Do you think, and I have some opinions on this. I've got some opinions. That's why I have a podcast. But do you think the Blazers if there's any silver lining to the Nurk injury, is that they've had to play these weirdo small lineups for 10 days? And what do do you think that helps them in any way?
I guess so. To sort of take positives away from what was largely a negative sort of absence of Nurkic. So maybe those teams feel a little bit more in harmony. Those lineups, rather. They're going to have to be to compete with the Warriors, who are just such a beautiful, sort of perfectly functioning basketball team, sort of top to bottom, even with integrating a Kevin Durant. Too smart of a player, too good of a player to actually sort of cause trouble in terms of integrating back into the team.
Yeah, he looks healthy too. He had 29 in like 32 minutes against 5 of 7 threes against the Lakers in the season finale. I think he's ready to go. If you were helping to catch the Warriors a little bit shorthanded, that is not happening. Except for Matt Barnes. They don't have Matt Barnes. So, unfortunately, sorry to hear it.
Yeah, so, we'll see some of the small ball lineups with Harkless and Aminu at the 4 and 5.
Noah is going to play a lot of center, I think.
Vonleh for sure.
And he's been good. We've talked about him a bunch on the last couple podcasts, but he's, he looks like an NBA player. And you couldn't always.
Yeah, he's gonna have an opportunity. I think big opportunities.
Yeah, and his ability to switch onto little guys as well as be big enough to guard 4s and 5s is really, in theory, really valuable. Who knows what he's gonna do in terms of, when he gets switched out onto Durant or Steph Curry. But I mean, in theory, he's the best option they have that can guard someone like Zaza Pachulia in the middle or like David West in the middle, and then also switch out. More so than Chief. And if they're both on the court, him and Al-Farouq Aminu, then they have sort of two switchy bigs, which I think more so than just sheer size is what you need against the Warriors. But I'm not sure when you're formulating your perfect team to beat Golden State that Al-Farouq Aminu and Noah Vonleh are in the equation.
Right. That might be lacking a little bit on offense.
Yeah. I will say that I think.
You think we see Myers Leonard any?
I mean, if Nurk doesn't play, he has to at least get on the court.
Right.
But
he never seems to be a good match.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he could play a couple minutes with David West at center, but otherwise, man, they're gonna just torch him in pick and rolls. As Evan Turner pointed out, like even when they go to that backup unit, when it's Iguodala and Ian Clark and Livingston, the primary ball handlers for the Warriors are 6'7", and it's those guys with Clark spotted up on the wing, and they're just going to pick and roll you to death. They're comfortable with 3 different guys running pick and rolls. They'll find mismatches and they'll exploit them. And Myers Leonard he's had some positive moments maybe in the last week, but it's not like he's turned this corner and you think like, here we go.
No, he has not had much of a redeeming season. Hard to picture him getting influential minutes in this series, for better or for worse for the Blazers. For him individually. Yeah. So, I don't know. Realistic prediction. I gotta think like 4-1 Warriors.
Yeah, you always think that teams will find a way to steal a game. I do think the Warriors will be. They understand how valuable it will be to take care of business and be rested. I think last year they saw.
Yeah.
Not that like they, you don't always have a choice with that because the other team is playing against you, but I think they understand how important it is to just sort of get to the next round and get some rest because they were gassed in the finals. I mean, as much as sort of Steph Curry throwing a ball behind the way cost them a chance to win back-to-back championships, they were just tired. They were out of gas in those last couple games. They didn't have the juice. They did add a Hall of Famer to the roster, so that helps. But I think they're as much as this is sort of like the Blazers push, this is redemption for the Warriors too. They blew a 3-1 lead. They were the best team in the league and the unanimous MVP. This is their redemption season, if anything else.
Yeah, they look especially motivated. Steph also I don't believe was 100% last playoff series.
Even though he got his ankle anointed in Mark Jackson's church.
Blessed from above. We all need a little help sometimes.
Mark Jackson, the same coach who would not let the Warriors share the pregame chapel with the Clippers. Never forget.
Vicious sectarianism. Mark Jackson, but no, they're not like that with Steve Kerr. They're open.
So he wasn't healthy, I don't think either, and now he's healthy, and he looks. I mean, the last. Whatever when Kevin Durant missed 19 games with an MCL sprain and a bone bruise, he came back the last 3 games. But in that stretch, that 19-game stretch, Steph Curry looked like MVP Steph Curry.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
my assumption is that I guess my read, as opposed to assumption, is that early in the year they may have been relying too much on Kevin Durant and sort of like, here, let's let KD do it, and then we'll fill in. And I think once Kevin Durant went down, Steph got to sort of take the governor off the engine and go at the pace and the sort of high creativity level that he thrives best in, and they've just looked really, really good over the last 20 games or so.
You're exactly right. they're just locked in right now. They look scary.
Yeah, I think they've won.
Scary,
I think they've won 15
their
of
first
16.
championship run.
15 of 16 heading into the playoffs, with one loss to I want to say the Jazz, like the second to last game of the season, off the top of my head.
Yeah, top to bottom, they just look unreal right now, and I still think we haven't seen them with KD operating at their full potential.
Yeah,
and you're right that it was a little slow early on. I think them trying to find the balance, Steph and KD, and the harmony amongst the team, and that team, they just got to let everyone play. I think they're filled with such smart ball players, even the volume shooter types amongst them, that they just got to sort of just do their own thing, and I think they'll find that, and they got to be the favorite for the championship for me.
Yeah, I think they have to be, but
just to sort of skip ahead to sort of finals predictions.
I think they have to be. Yeah, I think as much as and I just said it, but I think the Warriors went 51-11 with Kevin Durant in the lineup. So it was like, even when they were struggling, they would have been the best team in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
Or quote unquote struggling. That's air quotes or scare quotes around that. So they come on.
Yeah, those comments by me are not even about sort of how good the basketball is or how winning the basketball is, but just I'm used to seeing just the most beautiful basketball for them. That's just, everything is just perfect. So they were just, operating 98% perfection.
Yeah, I mean,
and you call it
the
out
73 win season, there were some games in the regular season where they'd be down 6 or 8 with 4 minutes left, and you knew they were going to win, and they would win by 4. They would just absolutely overwhelm teams at the end of games, and they would blow teams out and never play in the fourth quarter in the other games. And I guess we didn't see a ton of that. It wasn't like Steph Curry didn't take 17 fourth quarters off this year, but they still won 67 games. It was only a 6-loss difference. Some of it may be because they weren't chasing wins as much, and because I think Draymond Green was a little bit worse on offense this year than he had been in the previous season. That's the big difference to me. He shot under 30% from 3, and the year before he shot 38% from 3. They just had another fantastic shooter on the court. He's still excellent, albeit a lightning rod for controversy. Let's get back to
always.
Let's get back to you said Nurkic is first and foremost. Is there another sort of formula you think the Blazers can use to make this series make it a little bit longer than maybe people expect it'll be?
Obviously the team's going to need massive production from CJ and Dame, but CJ and Dame have both had their struggles against the Warriors. Their ability to sort of trap them in positions on the perimeter, forcing the other Blazers players to make passes and make plays off the ball. And we've talked many times throughout the season about the Blazers' offensive stagnancy at times, or sort of predictability. So if those guys can't put together really good games, and also through their struggles have their teammates really step up in above and beyond ways that maybe they've consistently done throughout the season, then it can happen where it's a more competitive series. I really think it's asking a lot of the Blazers, and maybe it sounds harsh, but things really, really have to go well for them to win, in my mind, 2 games.
Yeah, well, I mean, Damian Lillard
and maybe
Damian
one.
Lillard infamously predicted Blazers in 6.
That's right. That would take some. That would require flamethrower performances from Dame, which has been the usual performance
in the game
for the past month
I think he averaged
for him.
31.6 against them in the playoffs last year. In the one win they've had in the regular season, he had previously his career high 51. So I mean. If Dame goes bonkers, the Blazers can steal a game or 2. But
Absolutely.
It's, you usually you only have a chance to do that once, only one bonkers game before the whole sort of attention and the court tilts towards you, and everyone is saying, hey, anybody but Dame.
Yeah, and I can even see performances where Dame and CJ put up 80 together or something, and the Blazers lose even in a game like that. If production isn't happening elsewhere, if maybe Moe Harkless goes 1 of 4 from beyond the arc, or Al-Farouq Aminu goes 1 of 6 from beyond the arc, or something just cold outside of there with no Nurkic presence either.
Yeah, I think the way the Blazers steal a couple games, particularly if they were to win one in Oracle, which is a nearly impossible place to win. But if they were to do that, they would need one of those crazy Allen Crabbe games, where he goes 8 of 10 from 3, or 7 of 9 from the field, whatever it is. And they would need Aminu to shoot in the middle 40s, probably from 3, and they would need Moe Harkless to be lights out on offense. I don't know if Mo's going to just J a ton of threes, but they need him to be really efficient and effective, sort of finding spaces and gaps. But I think the one thing that hurt the Blazers a lot last year in this series is that when Mason Plumlee would get the ball, when they would trap Dame or CJ hard in those pick and rolls, he's not really a finisher or a scorer. So I guess that, in theory, is what Nurkic would bring, is that he can sort of catch it out of those traps and punish you. I don't know if you can trade twos for threes and beat the Warriors, but in theory, that's what Nurkic brings that they were missing, is that offensive sort of focal point rolling on pick and rolls that they were missing in the past, who's not just a distributor like Plumlee was.
Right. The ball would stick in Plumlee's hands sometimes against a tight defense like that. Yeah,
Draymond Green just punked him, man. That was tough for old Plum Dog.
I mean, hey, Draymond Green is an elite defensive player.
Is he would you vote for him Defensive Player of the Year this year? I know you don't get a vote since you're just like a lay person.
I'd probably vote for Rudy Gobert, actually.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, I just think that, not to lead us completely on a tangent here, but I think the improvement in Utah Jazz defense as a whole gives the nod to Gobert.
Interesting. Yeah,
I've just been really impressed with him this season, and the Warriors, I know Draymond Green's elite, and he'll be on first team all defense, and he already has Defensive Player of the Year awards, doesn't he?
No, he's finished second back-to-back years to Kawhi.
Oh, really? I thought he had nicked one of those.
Yeah, he needs a Career Achievement Award.
Well, maybe that just flipped my narrative a little bit, just to honor Draymond.
I'm glad I talked you into it.
He's certainly deserving.
I guess my argument for Draymond as... I don't know if he's a better defender than Kawhi. He's definitely an excellent one. But I just think Draymond's ability to guard on the perimeter more so than Gobert makes him a more, I don't know, valuable, but a more versatile defender. Gobert, I think, is the best center in the league. I've said it on this podcast before, and I apologize to Marc Gasol, one of my all-time favorites. But I really do think Gobert is... offensive efficiency coupled with his defensive ability makes him best center in the league. But Draymond's ability to switch onto a guy like Damian Lillard and then circle back to bother a guy like Jusuf Nurkic and also just lock up other wings is just there isn't anybody like him in the league. It's the Warriors have the best offense in the league, one of the best offenses in the history of the NBA, and they're the second best defense in the league, and they've been a top 5 defense for, even in the Mark Jackson era, they were a top 5 defense. They've been that good, and Draymond is a big reason why they're so good.
Mm-hmm. Imagine both of them playing together on the same defense, Gobert and Green.
Oh, I know.
They could play like a man down.
They could play.
They could cover so much space and so intelligently.
As long as they weren't playing the Warriors, they probably play 3-on-5.
Yeah. Yeah, Warriors would still run circles around him. Maybe.
Yeah, they might. Steph and Kevin Durant are pretty good.
Yeah, and Clay just with pedestrian 22 points on 40+% shooting from beyond the arc, and is just so consistently excellent.
Yeah, I was talking to CJ McCollum trying to write these sort of playoff previews that I've been doing, and I was asking him about the team. And these guys, they don't really want to pump up the competition too much, so they're kind of hard to get people to talk about them in glowing terms. But CJ said something like, these guys are all human, and then he stopped for a second and said, except for Clay. Clay might be a machine.
Yeah. No, he plays like a robot. I don't even mean that.
No, he plays like I wrote this today. He's like the archetypal 3-and-D, like the ultimate end of like the 3-and-D paradigm is like Klay Thompson.
Yeah, the apotheosis of it.
Exactly. You end up, and then CJ's sort of the other archetype is like the truest form of, or the greatest form of a combo guard, and every other shooting guard lies somewhere in the middle of the spectrum right there.
Ideal players.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back to the Damon 6 thing. Let me just set the stage for this. Damian Lillard did not play in the final 2 games of the Blazers' regular season, which were hilariously end of the season-y, where young players from one team play young players of another team, and there were many times when you didn't know 8 of the 10 players on the court. Well, maybe me and you would, but the average fan. So Dame did a pregame interview on like the official pregame show or whatever for the Blazers, and a reporter asked him, Blazers in 6 or 7, like as a joke, like as the parting question from the interview. And Damian Lillard, being the guy he is, answered the question that he was asked, and he said, I guess Blazers in 6 then. Which has then taken the internet by storm, hilariously. And
so predictable though, isn't it?
I said this before the podcast was recording, but it's the memification of the world. As soon as Dame said it, it was an easy thing to put on a shareable graphic for Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and now it's just a meme and people don't need context. I think there's sort of going to be some backlash to the context now. People saying, oh, it needs context, but I think it's pretty funny how quickly overnight that spread. Like, I can't believe Damian Lillard would say Blazers in 6. And when I just saw the headlines before I had seen the interview, I thought to myself, why would you say that?
Yeah, wouldn't seem tactically to be a very good idea.
Yeah.
But with the context, you don't have much of a choice but to answer otherwise, do you?
Yeah, I mean, unless he says something really political, and then it's just like annoying. And he's not. I mean, he occasionally does say things that are really political, and he's unwaveringly positive sometimes in the face of adversity, which is because he is just that kind of guy. But this wasn't he wasn't going to say, well, we just want to take it one game at a time, when he's asked like that. If you asked him what do you think is going to happen in the series, he's going to say, I think we're going to go in there and give it our best shot. He had already said in a previous interview, we're going to go in there, we're not going to go in there happy to be there, we're going to go in there swinging, we're going to go in there and try to shock the world. He had made it clear that he wants to win. That's not up for debate. But the idea that he would just outwardly say Blazers in 6, he is not the second coming of Brandon Jennings. Although that's one of the all-time great moments, is Brandon Jennings predicting Bucks in 6.
Yeah, Dame's a confident player, Blazers in 6.
Yeah. I hope it's not a storyline.
No, it won't be, especially as soon as the actual basketball starts. Especially once it's game 2.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It'll be over.
It's not interesting.
It'll be over on Sunday. That will be quickly all over.
Yeah, and look, there's so many other great series. We got an exciting playoffs.
Well, what else do you like?
So
what other series are you into?
Let's look at the Western Conference real quick. The other
Shall
series we got Clippers, Jazz, Rockets, Thunders, Spurs, Grizzlies. Rockets, Thunders has obvious appeal for the 2 leading MVP candidates. And
I agree that I am excited to see Domantas Sabonis and Trevor Ariza square off.
I love young Sabonis, man. I love that player. Very smart player.
I'm not a big fan of his yet. I'm sorry.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think he's good. I don't think he's good. I don't think he should.
Really? I think he would help the Blazers. I think he's way better than Myers Leonard.
Well, sure.
We're paying Myers Leonard $40 million.
I am not paying him anything.
No, but the team is, and his spot would certainly be better taken by Sabonis. I like Sabonis.
Okay, fine. You can like Sabonis. But yeah, no, I think that's going to be super fun. Just because of I think James Harden is going to realize sometime in the middle of game 1 that he is not going to win MVP, and that the narrative has been snatched from him by number 0 on the other team, and he is going to go off.
Yeah, of course he is. The whole team sort of rotates around him. There's really interesting sort of team dynamics with them, with both Russell and Harden, respectively, holding on to the ball so much, being so responsible for the playmaking and scoring. That's an especially interesting series to me.
Yeah, that one's fun. I kind of like.
I got Rockets in that one.
Me too.
Though.
I don't. The Rockets have better players.
I think they're a better team.
Yeah, the Rockets have better players. I mean, they're vulnerable in such that they're not a great defensive team. So if you can somehow slow them on offense, you'll have a chance. But I think the Rockets are too good. I don't see any real upsets happening in the West at all. But I am intrigued.
Yeah.
I am intrigued by Grizzlies Spurs because the Grizzlies are just so grimy. They're so incredibly grimy that they can steal games, and they've played the Spurs really well this whole year.
Yeah, how many times have we seen that series?
Like
That's just one reason I'm not.
Yeah, it's like the
47th
47th edition of Grizzlies Spurs.
It's stale to me. It's just such a stale series, even though the Spurs always play great basketball, and Grizzlies have Marc Gasol, one of my favorites, and I'm just not especially interested in that series, Mike. Gotta be honest.
All right, I'm sorry. What about Jazz Clippers? You excited?
That one a little more so.
Because it could be the end of the Clippers, I think, is the most exciting part of it for me. Like, if the Clippers lose, like, especially if they lose in, like, 5 or 6, which I think that one could go 7 very easily. But if they lose quickly because the Jazz just overwhelm them, that could be it. That could be it for this edition of the Clippers.
Yeah, that's got to be tip-tops for Schadenfreude potential.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Everyone hates the Clippers, and if things go bad, if they catch an injury at the wrong time, as they've experienced many times, or Jazz just snuff them out.
Yeah.
There'll be some happy
I'm also
fans.
excited for America to realize how good Rudy Gobert and Gordon Hayward are. I think that's a cool storyline too. Is like those two dudes are really, really excellent NBA players, and no one watches the Jazz. They're so this is a chance for them to sort of have a coming out party on a national stage and just say, "Hey, look, we're among the NBA's elites."
Absolutely. Jazz is a good team.
Yeah.
I love the Jazz. I predicted they'd have a good season. That's one way I've been validated in my predictions this year. I thought they were gonna have a really good season, and they have, and they got a really bright future ahead of them.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've already talked a lot about the 1 versus 8 matchup. If you missed it, it was the first 30 minutes of this podcast. But in the East, I think in a way, Pacers, even though the Pacers aren't very good, but Pacers LeBron's is pretty exciting in terms of how bad the Cavs have been and how good Paul George is.
Yeah, that's intriguing. I think Paul George has just sort of grown into sort of his form this year. I guess through lots of frustrations, because you're right, the Pacers aren't very exciting.
No, and they're flawed roster wise, and some.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of top talent.
No,
do they?
I mean their second best player is probably C.J. Miles, right? He's maybe, unless you're a Jeff Teague guy.
Miles Turner.
Oh, Miles Turner is their second best player. You're right.
Yeah, but still, he's still a young kid who's got a bright future, but still has a lot of sort of growing to do in his game. But yeah, just like the history of that sort of series, Pacers personalities, Lance Stevenson back with Indiana.
Oh boy, playoff Lance.
And you're right, a playoff Lance. It could be the moment. I was just thinking about that the other day. Lance blowing in LeBron's ear.
I can't wait. He's gonna try it again.
Iconic NBA moment. Oh, in a funny way, LeBron's brought out the best in Lance Stevenson's career.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe it'll happen again.
Yeah.
That's really the best we've seen him,
Agreed.
right? Being a pest, like maybe the blowing in the ear gets overlooked, but he was bothering LeBron a little bit with his defense. You can't win really against LeBron like that.
No, it's a stupid way to do it.
You can slow down just a little, slow him down.
Yeah,
just a
you
little
can
bit.
bother him in the moment to lose in the marathon because he will.
Yeah.
Oh boy, will he regroup?
And they're just the Cavs are just like not.
Yeah,
good,
they've just been playing bad. They're just a bad team. They're like 29th in defensive efficiency since the All-Star break. They're one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA.
Yeah, what? How many wins did they finish with?
Didn't they finish with 50 and 32? Is that right? That's off the top of my head.
Let me check really quick. I'm on it. 51. Yeah, they're only 10 games better than the Blazers.
Yeah, I mean they limped into the playoffs.
Record-wise,
They're 20 and 21 on the road. 4-6 in their
And
last 10 games. Obviously, they sat out at some of those games at the end, but they lost some games. Particularly, I'm thinking of the game against the Hawks that went into OT, where they were out and out trying to win and get the first seed, and they just couldn't win it.
Yeah, that was not good. Hawks rested a few players that game.
Well,
didn't
Millsap played. That's all that matters.
Yeah. I suppose you're right. He's their top player.
Yeah. I'm other series in the East is I'm really, really intrigued by Bucks Raptors because those are two of my favorite League Pass teams.
Really?
Yeah. I think I'm the only person in America that's excited for that series, but that's me. That's who I am.
Man, it's like playoff Raptors for me is not great. I feel like I've enjoyed watching them in the regular season at times, but in the playoffs sometimes they seem to like slow down.
Well, Lowry last year in the playoffs basically alternated in between having a 40-point game and being the worst player on the court.
Yeah, Lowry inexplicably is a terrible playoff player.
I know, because he seems like he's fearless and clutch in the regular season.
Yeah, historically he's just thrown up just terrible shooting performances, and I don't know what it is with him in the playoffs. I really like him. I think he's just a rugged dog of a player.
Yeah, he's a stud, man. He's a stud when he's healthy.
So I don't know what's up with him. So yeah, I'm not especially interested in that series, even though I do love Giannis.
Yeah, I mean that series might end up on NBA TV, but I'm still gonna watch it. That might be the.
I'm sure I'll check it out.
Actually, the most NBA TV series is Wizards Hawks. Don't even act like it's not the most NBA TV series there ever was.
Yeah, those are teams that I feel like don't get a lot of attention nationwide.
Yeah, I think
probably for good reason.
I think if the Wizards win, Wizards Celtics in round 2, assuming that the Bulls don't shock the world, but Wizards Celtics in round 2 will be extremely fun. But I'm not super interested in that half of the Eastern Conference bracket. But I'm all in. I'm all in on the bottom half of that bracket. I'm all in on Raptors Bucks and can the Cavaliers turn it on? Because I assume that they can, right? I assume that the Cavaliers will just find that extra gear, but they have not been playing like a team that has that extra gear just available for them.
Yeah, that could be a fun series. I could see actually the Pacers really playing them well and actually sort of forcing the Cavs into some good form finally, which would, I think, make for better basketball later on in the playoffs. Because they need to find it fast.
Oh yeah, the second round's going to be brutal. If they play the Raptors in the second round, like that's a really good defensive team with Ibaka and PJ Tucker. Like they better get going.
There's a lot of tough teams in like physically sort of tough and like a hard playing style in the East. Celtics play hard. Wizards, I think, play hard. Raptors, like you said, have some physical grit. Yeah, there's going to be some interesting series later on in there. I'm not going to be glued in, I think, hardcore to the first round, but second round for sure.
I hear you. What about who do you have in the Western Conference Finals? Let's just skip ahead. Who do you think makes it?
Okay. Warriors versus Warriors Spurs.
Oh, I know you wanted to pick the Rockets. Part of you really wanted to pick the Rockets.
Yeah, I did, but Spurs kind of have off years, They sort of trade years sometimes in the playoffs where they have really good seasons and then one series goes really, really bad for them. And I think it's going to be Warriors Spurs in what would be a great series.
What about in the East? Who you got?
Oh, this is a tough one. I got to go Celtics Cavs.
Yeah, you're taking the chalk.
I think the Cavs. I think the Cavs will find something.
Yeah,
to get there
I'm just not in the business of picking against LeBron James.
I know he's got other levels. He really has other levels that people don't know about, or they know about, they just don't always see.
Yeah, exactly. And I maybe he won't. Maybe they won't turn it on, and we'll have a reality check. But I'm not in the business of picking against LeBron James. That's not what I do.
Yeah, and he seems healthy, right?
Oh, yeah. He's just played too much. I'm worried he might get tired.
He seems great.
I'm worried he might get tired, but he's, So, okay, here's a one for you. How much would you pay to see a number 9 versus number 9 matchup, 7 games of Nuggets Heat?
Hmm. How much would I pay for one ticket to
Yeah,
one game?
one ticket to one game, assuming you have to sit downstairs.
I mean, I'd pay regular NBA prices.
Yeah, I think that would be.
I mean, maybe not. Not like $50.
I think that'd be really fun, because I think those are two of the most fun teams in the league. Especially assuming
Miami had a heck of a stretch to close the season. Kudos to them. They really turned it around because they looked god awful at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I mean, they were started 11-30, and they finished 30-11.
Is that really how it broke down? That's crazy. Flip flop. Yeah. The Janice face season.
Yeah, and they were just really, really good. I was joking with another media member that the Heat are like the ideal team for a reporter to cover because you don't have to work past the end of the regular season, and everyone's in a good mood when the season ends. It's like the team still overachieved and they feel good, and everyone's like feeling, and they have like a really positive vibe at exit interviews, but you don't have to. You don't have to work anymore. Your job's still done at the end of the regular season.
That's great. That's great, and it all makes sort of sense too, like moving forward for the franchise for the most part.
Oh yeah, if Dion Waiters is back healthy, then they have at least the right type of formula that makes them pretty darn good. And Eric Spoelstra is an incredible coach, and everybody knows it now.
Yeah, they got the infrastructure over there to do things the right way and in a good way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you sort of bet for them to sort of come out on top eventually.
Yeah. Do you have any other sort of lingering, we can just circle back, any other lingering Blazers, Warriors thoughts, questions, observations?
I don't know, but let me just I'm sure you know about this. Shout out to Moe Harkless for getting that $500K bonus for achieving 35% 3-point shooting percentage this season.
And actively not shooting the ball because he had $500,000 on the line.
Very, very smart decision from him.
Yeah. What was very funny was that he posted on social media that he went out to dinner after the game, and he's like, haha, I guess dinner's on me tonight. I'm like, heck yeah, it is.
Hey, it's just like a challenge, like the infamous game where Larry Bird against Portland, maybe even in Portland. It was in Portland, yeah. Decided to only shoot with his left hand. Yeah. Well, not quite like that, but
dude, it's basically Larry Legend, Moe Harkless, same guy.
Same guy, versatile players.
Yeah.
We need Moe though. That's my closing thoughts for the series. Is Moe definitely has to be on. He's got to hit his 3-point shot. And he's got to be his usual active self on offense and defense.
Yeah, and I've reported this a million times, and so has sort of everyone on the internet. But Allen Crabbe's going to play in Game 1. He's been wearing a walking boot the last week for inflammation in his left foot. It kind of flared up after he had that monster game against whoever. Yeah,
great performance.
Yeah, whoever that was. I'm blanking on it off the top of my head right now. Utah. He had a huge game against Utah at home, and then his foot kind of flared up, and he got an MRI, and he decided to. Actually, it was against Minnesota because he didn't play against Utah. Sorry. But in any case, the major point is Allen Crabbe's going to play. He said he's going to be dealing with pain throughout the playoffs. There's no way he's going to be able to play around it. But getting in a walking boot maybe causes it to be a little bit easier to deal with. And so he's going to play. Blazers are going to have their full complement of wings. And the big question is Nurk. And we will find out Friday. Should Nurk decide to come back, maybe we'll have a emergency reaction pod to the news.
Yeah. What time can listeners expect that announcement to come? You think, and the day that is later in the afternoon,
okay. Here I'll break it down for you. The Blazers report to practice at 11 a.m., which means the guys have to be there between 9:30 and 10. But you usually get there about an hour before. Maybe 30 minutes is probably the cutoff where you get in trouble for not being there. But I imagine Nurk will get there at 9 in the morning and get his full evaluation. And I imagine the Blazers kind of have a general idea what they're going to see because they've been monitoring him so closely. But I don't think there'll be an announcement until about 1 p.m.-ish, maybe 1:30 p.m. Pacific time at the absolute earliest. So about 4 o'clock your time, Charles, on a Friday evening, you could expect to get very good news or, the idea, maybe that they say, hey, he's going to take another week off. But I think we'll have definitive news on his availability for Game 1 tomorrow afternoon, Friday afternoon.
Big drama. You heard it here first, folks.
Well, you might have heard it here somewhere else. Depending on the order you listen to your podcast, you may have heard it somewhere else.
You heard it here.
You did hear it here. My friend Chuck.
At some point in time.
My friend Chuck, we come with the news. All right, well, we will do more of these. The Blazers have 2 games off in between games 1 and 2 and in between games 2 and 3. So there's going to be plenty of things to talk about and analyze, and we'll probably come with some sort of short analysis and I'll call them analysis and solution podcasts, because that's what people do, is they pretend they have solutions, and we'll happy to jump on that train. Charles, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the NBA playoffs, the most happiest time of the year, and I will talk to you probably Sunday evening.
Yay, playoffs.
We did it. All right. Oh, hey, by the way, you can follow me on Twitter at Mike G. Rich. Follow Chuck on Twitter at MC Hellenarles. You can find all my stuff, all my colleagues' work at OregonLive.com/Blazers. We'll talk to you soon, guys. Thanks for listening. Peace.